In this video I'm going to show you how to fold the Jack in a Box by Hugo Pereira. This is the finished model. I used paper that's 35 centimeters wide and 17.5 centimeters high. I recommend you actually use a bit bigger paper. So if you take a sheet and it's approximately 42 centimeters wide and 21 centimeters high, I think it will be easier. In standard sizes that would be 18 inches by 9 inches approximately. You'll then get a model that has a box with a side length of 3.5 centimeters or 1.5 inches. In this video I'm going to use 35 centimeters by 17.5 centimeters, and this is the size of the model. I'll try to zoom in on the more difficult parts. You'll need paper that's colored on one side and white on the other to have a model where the jack is a different color than the box. Also, I'd like to note that this model is a bit more complex. In particular, you need some advanced techniques such as closed sinks, wraparounds, and also an Elias stretch, a very big one. So if you're a beginner, this is probably not the best project for you. This is just a small disclaimer that there will be difficult steps in this model. I try to make them clear, but if you're having difficulties, you might just want to wait a bit more, practice on simpler models, and then come back to this one. But now let's start folding. We're going to start with the white side up to get a white jack and a red box. And first we need to crease the diagonals of the square, of the two squares, because this is 2x1 paper. This is the first one. And the second one. Do try to work quite precisely, because errors will make a difference. And unfold and rotate, and again crease the diagonals. Unfold and then crease in half right here, and then the quarters, basically the halves of the squares, and in half lengthwise. Like so. Next we want to fold thirds on this. So we're going to take this lower point and flip the model around. I'm going to try to stay quite close to the diagrams so that you can follow them. They're available on Hugo Pereira's website. So you take this lower point and then bring it to the center and then crease all the way through. You don't really need to crease all the way through because this is just an orientation fold, but it won't really be visible later, so it's fine. And then you want to bring this crease right to where that corner ends right here. So I'm just going to make that into a mountain fold so it's easier to align. And with this one you really want to be quite precise so that you get nice thirds. Now you're folding one of the thirds in the back, right there. And unfold. And now you want to have another third, So you're just going to bring the edge to that crease to get another third. And then on the other side also you want thirds, so again bring the edge to the third. And another time. Like so. And you also want to crease thirds in this direction. So you're going to see that this crease at 1/3 crosses the diagonal. We're going to bring this edge so that it meets exactly that point. Same thing right here, there, and there, just to get nice precision. And then on the other side too, to get the other third. Like so. Next we're going to fold 6 just on the outside and in the center. So basically the thirds that surround the squares in the middle. The direction of all of these folds isn't really that important because we're going to be folding back and forth in all of these. If you like, you can fold mountain and valley to make the creases stronger. But I'm going to let that be, just because it takes a bit more time. But right here, actually, I will make a mountain fold to then align with the center to make it easier to get a precise 1/6 in the middle. And same on the other side. You will notice that I'm not explaining as much these simple steps, just because I'm assuming that you do have some origami experience already, else this model will probably be too difficult. Next we're going to fold 1/12 in this direction, so you're going to fold in half each of these small squares. It's always good to take the whole grid as orientation so that you get straight creases. If you have strips of paper, long rectangles, then it's always hard to make a straight crease all the way through. So as you notice, I usually just crease a small part and then check the alignment and then crease the next part and check the alignment and go on like that, just to get nice precision. like so. Now on one side we're going to fold 1/12, then jump one, and then fold another 1/12. So that's one, then jump one, and then fold the next one. Always use the grid that you already have to check the alignment so that you get nice and precise folds. On the other side, fold 12s on 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. One, two, three, one more. Like so. Now you can see that you've got the diagonals of a square right here, and we're going to make another one of those crosses just moved by one small square, which is 1/12 wide. So fold so that 1/12 is aligned with the edge of the paper. Get the two endpoints straight and then crease all the way through. And then you need to do the same thing with the other diagonal. And then the pre-creasing section of the diagrams is done. Now we can start assembling some of the model, and first we're going to work on the locker, which is this lid of the whole box. So first ensure that the diagonal creases you just made are on the left side so that we can work on the left. Just to follow the diagrams. It's really useful for reference to look at these diagrams even if you follow this video. I think it will make it easier for you. So as you can see, I folded in the two edges to the middle, and then you can see that you've got your two diagonal creases here, and you've got 12ths right here, then you jumped one, and then you've got 12ths again. So right at that end, so after 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, you're going to make a stronger crease, just so you know where you're heading. And then you're going to take this top two layers of paper and fold in by 2/12. So 1, 2, and then fold in and make a strong crease there too. Like so. So now I've got that folded in. You fold in where I showed you before, like so. And now we're going to slightly open this so that you're basically at a 90-degree angle. And you need to do something right in this section so that you can flatten it. And you just, right here, you see you've got that crease where you're folding along. And right there, you're going to make a new fold by bringing this edge to that crease right here. So you're opening up and creating a new diagonal crease. So you've kind of got a small corner right here. And then you're going to inside reverse fold this section. You can see it's 2/12 and 1/12. You're going to inside reverse fold. like so. And then you can do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to unfold this again, just because I think it's easier to prepare each side and then collapse. So you fold in, you bring upward, show it to you from the other side, and then you make the corner by introducing that new crease right here. Try to get it relatively precise. Precision is key in origami, so you'll get much nicer models if you do precise folds. Do an inside reverse fold here, and then you can refold the other side. Now you can start seeing that this is the size of the box. This is the side length, which it is exactly 1/6 of the width of the initial paper size. Now turn around, rotate somewhat, and then fold this flap down as far as it goes, and you see there's some paper tension here, and you're basically doing a squash fold on that section. So just straighten it out. Basically already does what you want it to. Just have to maybe squeeze it a bit to get nice, precise folds. So now it's squashed down. Now we're going to take this layer right from the inside one closed edge and bring it out, and you've got a valley fold right here which makes a triangle here, and you're just going to fold along that, and then automatically you'll see this mountain fold here like so, and do the same thing on the other side. Open up, go along that valley fold and make that corner sharp, and now you've got the start of the lid. Next we're going to take this edge out here, one layer, and fold it up like so, and then from the inside push so that you get double the height. Same thing on the other side, fold up, push to get a mountain fold right here, and then flatten. Make that mountain fold a bit stronger, just so that the paper remembers where it needs to go. Now we want to flatten that paper inside, so now you're going to take this edge and fold it down, and in the section right here you're going to push down like so to allow the paper to go where you want it to. So you can see that this is the result after, and before you have this corner right here, and you're pushing that like so to allow the paper to be folded like so. Now the end of the lid is pretty much done, and we have to still do the start of the lid. For that we're going to rotate like so, just so that it's easier to see. So we're going to bring this paper up 1/6 in like so, and then you need to do something to make this go up. So you're going to add a new small diagonal crease, which is the diagonal of the second 1/12 square. Make a nice precise crease on each side, bringing this edge to align with the 1/12 crease. Like so. Now the fun begins. This section right here on the side, as this is like a small triangle and a square, you want to closed sink inside. So you're going to open the model right here so that you see the white paper, and closed sink that section. So I just push on that point to reverse it, like so, and push it through. And then straighten out the folds. Just be sure to go along the correct creases, maybe making them stronger again, and then try again. I find sometimes I do get confused when doing some steps, because I suddenly don't know which creases to use anymore. And in that case I usually unfold and then just try again to not get confused with the layers. I think it's usually easier to go back and try again rather than trying to figure it out in a confused state. These closed sinks aren't easy, so you should probably have some practice with closed sinks when attempting this model, as I mentioned in the beginning. And this paper is somewhat misbehaving, I'm sorry. But we're getting there. The section won't be visible, so it's not that bad if the paper looks a bit crumbled, which it does in my case, because I've been messing around with it too much. It's okay in the outside, but inside it has a bit of a crumpled feeling. Like so. Now you've hidden the areas with a closed sink, and this locks it a bit better. And the next step is probably even a bit trickier than the previous one. I'm going to zoom in a bit to show you. I'm going to fold this in once and make the creases strong. I mean, you can keep it this way if you like, but it's not as nicely locked. So what we're going to do is try again to make it more visible. Going to open the top layer without unfolding the rest, hopefully, like so. So now it's opened. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Open out the side, like so, you can see that. And now right along this crease, which goes all the way around, fold inside. number 1, you can see that here, and number 2, right there. And then you can close the top layer again. I think this time you should have seen it better. I hope so, at least. And then it's locked a bit better. You still have this slight gap, but you don't have those raw edges right in the bottom. I think that's a bit nicer. Now you can see that the top of the lid looks pretty good already. So let's look at making the box. You now have this crease right here. I mean, you can see you want a square box right here. And you've got a mountain fold right next to it. You're just going to go along that, and I'm going to zoom out, go along that valley and that diagonal mountain fold, and do that on both sides. So you've got this one opening up these long sections, and on the other side just be sure to go exactly along the pre-creasing and maybe make the creases stronger again, because they're pretty much going to stay that way. For extra fun, we're going to do more closed sinks. So we're going to closed sink this whole section. So you've got 2/12, and this corner is where you have to closed sink. So open up, put your fingers in between, then invert this corner without separating the layers. Be sure to straighten it out inside to make it nice and clean. Kind of like when my models look clean inside too, even if the areas aren't that visible. It will make some difference, I think. And at least the difference will be that you know you folded cleanly. I don't know. So, straighten that out, and then in the front make sure again that everything's fine in the inside and the outside, just to get a nice clean finish on the box in the end. There we are. And just because closed sinks are so much fun, going to closed sink this white area that you can see. So closed sink back, again reverse the fold and make that area disappear. Straighten out the inverted corner to get a nice clean finish. That looks pretty good. Like so. And now do the same thing on the other side. Closed sink. and closed sink again. Get that corner nice and straight, like so. And then that's done. So now you can see you've got the box and the lid, and then you've got lots of paper for the spring and the jack. So let's work on that next. Just going to fold this back a bit to get the box out of the way, and this is right along the edge. Now you're going to go 1 6 and a second 6, and then make a stronger crease here just to remember, and then take the edge right here, bring it to that one to make a small pre-creasing just halfway, and then we're going to do a rabbit ear. So if you've got those two in place, collapse them together, make a crease in the middle to collapse that, like so, and fold to the left. So now this is just 1/12 wide. And I'm just going to make those creases nice and strong. Now we're going to release some paper. I'm going to first take just one layer right here, one layer of paper, and pull so that it gets released right here. And then take the next layer, which is too thick, like twice the sheet, and again pull to release. We're just rearranging some layers, and after that we can do some more fun closed sinks. So we release one layer and then two more, so there's 3. And that means that we can now do 2 closed sinks. First on the first one, so fold each of these back down again, that's the first one, without rearranging the layers in the inside. And the second one. So now you can see that these layers are separated, whereas before they were connected. And this means that we can now closed sink these sections. So invert and add corner in the inside. If you're wondering why we're doing this is mostly to get a white spring and a white jack rather than a red one. But I fear you can't just skip the steps if you don't care about coloring, because it does change the way the model looks, and the later steps do depend on that. So you've got those two, and then do the same thing on the other side, maybe by folding over like so that it looks more similar. Then take one and release, take another and release, take another and release, and fold back down, and fold back down, and do some closed sinks. The good thing about closed sinks is that layers are then somewhat locked, and it makes the paper not separate, which you really don't want. Like so. Now you've got just 1/12 in the bottom still there, and your sink that one too, and it's not really a closed sink anymore. You just have to fold it up, and it's quite an easy step, I think. Not much to say about it. Just sink and you'll see that there's just one way to go. Like so. Now we're going to work on the spring, so we're going to open this area up a bit symmetrically, like so. And right here in the middle too, open symmetrically, so you've got 1, 2, 3 mountain folds on each side, and you open it in the bottom, make nice sharp corners, so you've got something like this. Now for the spring we're going to have 6 mountain folds and 5 valley folds. I'm going to make 1 mountain along the grid, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And now you're going to make valley folds in between those 6 mountain folds, so there's 5. So I'm just going to take 2 mountain folds, put them on top of each other, and make a nice strong crease. And this is preparation for the spring. To turn this around for the last one. And press together. Like so. Now unfold again a bit. And next we're going to close this section again and then collapse the spring, and what will happen is there will be small diamond shapes between those layers, but they'll somewhat appear automatically, so it's not really worth, I think, pre-creasing. So first just push this closed and you'll see that in this area it won't quite flatten. So what I do is I actually make a valley fold throughout here, and then to just push down so that the mountain fold lies down, like so. And you see right here you've got a small diamond of creases that appeared, showing you the next one. This is how it looks before. And then you push, and you can see the paper does what it's supposed to. And push closed, and proceed with the next one. And next one. Sometimes you might have to help it a bit to get somewhat precise folds. But again, I'm somewhat obnoxious about having tidy models, even for areas that you don't see later. But it's really not visible. I mean, you don't really know what's happening in there. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to prepare the paper for the jack. So keep that box out of the way. You've got the spring right here and the box attached here, and you can fold up the top spring bit. And now we want to pre-crease and then do more nice open sinks, but open sinks that are a bit harder than the usual open sink. You're going to take this edge, fold it over to that one to just prepare, and so. And the important bit here is that you pre-crease all the way, which means you're making a small diagonal fold right here. And that small diagonal fold, if you pre-crease that very strongly, you'll have a much easier time performing the next step. So please go all the way, else the next step will be troublesome. And then you do that with the next layer of paper too. Making that diagonal fold strong, and one more. Like so. And then unfold those, all three, and then make open sinks of this section. So we now have to sink this area right here. These are the creases we just prepared when folding up each of these layers, and I drew them in just to clarify because these will be very important. So first, try to sink just the top in the usual fashion. So this crease will be a mountain fold, and that one will become a valley fold. You can only do this in the top and not in the bottom. In the bottom, just go up to that pre-creasing that you made, and you can see that because it's on two layers, a diamond shape will pop up like so. And you can collapse that a bit like so. And now you can see that there's this point right here of the diamond, and that needs to be inverted so it's pointing down. And this point right here I'm going to reference in a second too. So these 2 points are important. And this one's the first one we're going to look at. We're going to look at it from the other side. You can see here is the diamond shape, and this point needs to go inside of there. So what we're going to do is take the last of these spring parts and push it back up and press this in. You can only press this in once you've partly closed this up again. So we're going to partly close up and then push on that point to invert it, and then you can close the whole thing up. And just going to see this point right here, that's the point you pushed in, and there you've got your first sink performed. Now if we look inside, you can see that this is the diamond and this is the other point I referenced before, and you want that to be nice and tidy. So be sure that you're not creating new creases, but actually going along those triangle creases. And I'm pushing this right into that triangle. And that makes it easier to make it clean too. Like so. And then you can take that and put it back to the front. Just find it a good orientation to see where the creases need to go. And then you've got your first sink done, and this is what it looks like. Now we're going to move on to the second one. So again, take one of these layers and just start a sink in the top, going down to that diamond. And here you have to be a bit more careful because the layer is locked a bit here already. So if you push too hard here, then this paper might rip, and we don't want that. So you're going to have to slightly open up, not much, but just slightly, so that the paper has a bit of space to move in. And then you're going to push from the back to get that diamond popping up a bit. Like so. There we are. So you can see those creases, and trying to get this quite tidy. There we are. You can see that's the diamond along the creases we created. And now again do the sink in the top up to the diamond, like so, and then you can see that there's a mountain fold that wants to happen right there, and just let it happen. And when you do that, you've got your second sink done, like so. And then you've got the third layer. So you take the third layer and you start the sink in the top, and then you open up until that diamond shape, like so. Then sink in the top, up until that diamond. And then start closing up the model again. And let that mountain fold happen, or force it if you like. It's not really popping up by itself this time for me. So basically you can see these creases here. Those are valleys. And then push it closed. And then you've got something like this. It's all sunken. And there you go. Then repeat on the other side. Once this is done on both sides, we're going to open up in the center, right here, and then push down those spring parts and then make 2 small diagonal folds here to collapse. There's a lot of layers of paper here. So you have to push quite hard. Try to close up the area. Make nice strong creases here. Like so. Then fold up right along here, or just basically as far as it will go. Like so. And then turn around, and now we're going to work on this area, and we're going to form an arm out of this section by making a very big Elias stretch. So first, be sure that everything's symmetrical, and then open this up like so. In the bottom it will stay closed, and that's fine for now. Now you should be able to see a crease right along the diagonal which we prepared in the very beginning when we did the pre-creasing. We're going to go along that pre-creasing, first making a small valley fold, and then making that horizontal crease you should see here, making that into a mountain fold a bit. And then you want to bring the edge to that mountain fold. And you can close it up right here because you've got that small valley fold, and you'll see that the diagonal will be a mounted fold right here. It will just emerge like that, or you might have to force it, but usually if you make this horizontal fold into a mountain, then this will also become a mountain. And then you make that crease all the way around. It's a new crease. And right here in the end, this is the center of the whole paper, and right next to it you also want to kind of make a diagonal that isn't in there yet. So just make a small diagonal crease right along there as a valley fold, so that you can make that mountain fold all the way through. And then again along that diagonal there'll be a small mountain fold you have to make this time. And then you've got the first section of the Elias stretch done. Now you do that with the next layer again, small valley fold, put that into a mountain fold, small mountain fold on the diagonal, and then fold together to make a new horizontal crease. And on this side, again also make a small diagonal fold and another one. I'm just joining these two edges to get a nice accurate diagonal fold. And then you continue one more time. You can see this is closing up And now you've only got 2 small sections left. Let's look at it from the other side, right here. And this, again, we'll need, here is the diagonal that we pre-creased in the beginning. This is the center of one of the squares. And here is the second crease we're adding, like so. And now, instead of this, you've got an arm, and that's a big Elias stretch. Do the same thing on the other side. Like so. Now we've got this arm and we want to open it up a bit here. So we first have to do some work. And the first one is that we're going to have to hide this corner, sink it. So I'm just going to fold in to match this edge with that edge. Just to pre-crease. Like so. Unfold. And then sink. Let's turn this around to show you how the sink is done. Just inverting the folds, making valley to mountain. And then the top is somewhat flattened and somewhat like a spread squash, I guess. So you have this triangle, and if you closed it up it would be kind of like an open sink. And you want to do that again on the other one so that you can completely open this and flatten it. Fun fact, I went to a workshop with Robert Lang once, and he mentioned that the spread squash really excited him when he was a kid, and he was his favorite fold. I'm not sure whether that's still true, but there you are. That's the next one. And then one final time, one last spread squash. Like so. When you've got those in place, then you can close this up again, and in the bottom make a squash like so, which also opens it out again. But I find it easier to make the squash when that area is folded together again. And that's one arm. And let's do the same again on the other side. First pre-crease just the first one. The other ones I don't pre-crease. It's really hard to pre-crease them in any case. Let's pre-crease and open. And flatten. That's the first one. And then the next one. And one final time. Close it up and squash. Like so. Now you've got those two arms. Next, if you want kind of colored hands, red hands, you're just going to take this small corner up until the first crease and wrap it around. Be careful not to rip the paper, but you can easily open this up quite wide and then close up again. So you've got some colored hands or a colored sleeve, I'm not sure, something like that. Same thing on the other side. This time I know I have to pre-crease again. And then wrap around. Like so. Let's turn them around. Now before we do more work on the arms, let's work on the head section. We're first going to open this area up here and squash it open. So just open the layers pretty much all the way so that you just have one single layer left, and then squash down, creating small creases, small diagonal creases on the corners, like so. And then fold down and make another diagonal crease right there so that you kind of get these triangles, like so, going along with one of those grid creases there. And then you need to flatten this area down, so you need to make another diagonal crease right here. That's created there. Comes quite naturally. Like so. Now to lock this head to the neck, we're going to wrap around this layer of paper, so you basically just take the top layer and invert this point. So take the top layer and unfold it a bit and wrap around the point. Straighten out the folds and hide the paper inside. Like so. Same thing on the other side. Just release the top layer invert the point and then hide our paper in the inside. It looks a bit more symmetrical, the head. On the head you can try to form a face however you like. In the diagram suggested is to kind of make a small triangle. So let's try that. You basically want to make a mountain fold and then two small valleys to get an eye area, and then in the bottom you want to make this a small nose. So I'm going to make that mountain fold and then two, maybe a straight mountain fold if possible. This is small. I mean, I'm using smaller paper than I probably should for a video, but didn't have any other paper at hand. And I really had to do this video because I've been pushing it away for such a long time because it's a bit of a challenge. And form the nose. Let's see whether we can make this work. This is very fiddly business. Probably not that suited for the video. Like so, maybe. It's not that important how you do the face. You know, do whatever you like. You've got some paper. And then the arms need to be formed a little so that the jack actually fits inside the box. So we're going to make a rabbit ear right along this edge. So bring that arm inside a bit. And then you can fold it up and to the side, like so. And do the same thing on the other side. Do a rabbit ear. Then fold up and to the side, and then we're done. Now we only have to fold in the jack with a mountain fold, then bring him back with a valley, bring him to the bottom with a valley fold, and bring him back right here with another fold. Chuck, chuck, like that. And then you can hide the jack in the box, because the box is quite small for the jack. And now you have the box, and when you open it, there is the jack. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a bit of a challenge, but I hope you were able to follow along, and I'm sure also looking at the diagrams should have helped. Happy folding!